Today we'll discuss a unique subject, feminism. My first claim is that feminism can't exist without men. If this was those little conservative debates where you go three, two, one, and every single person is looking at who would rush in order to touch the chair. And as soon as the timer hits one, all those peasants trying to get a glimpse of the chief debater. But the first claim is that feminism in and of itself can't exist without men. In fact, the word feminism was coined by French philosopher Charles Fourier in 1837. So the name feminism itself was coined by a man. After all, some random bitch would come along and say, well, men don't support feminism. In fact, we are oppressed by feminism. My friend, let me make it clear. The only reason feminism exists is because men have allowed it to exist. Men are the only people who can project force. And unfortunately, violence is the bottom line of every single disagreement on the earth. The only reason a police officer will tell you to stop and you adhere to that advice is because of the threat of violence. You know he's going to shoot you if you do not. If every police officer was walking around with a gun without the threat of shooting, then nobody is going to listen. Nobody is going to listen. So violence is the bottom line of every disagreement on the earth. Women, in and of itself, cannot hold this idea without men giving it to them. So feminism is just an appeal to men for some kind of equality. And unfortunately, feminism has gone astray because if you look at the founder of feminism, Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Wollstonecraft. I'm trying not to pronounce her name wrongly before I'm deemed as misogynist. You can't even pronounce fucking dumb bitches. Mary Wollstonecraft, I believe, due to her book in 1792 titled The Vindication of Women's Rights. In this book, she argues that women are disenfranchised because of class and private property. But if you look at what we have today in the Western world, do you have a private property or do you have access to own property? Okay? Do you have access to a bank account without a co-signing from a male sponsor or a male partner? Exactly. So feminism has already achieved what it set out to achieve. Unfortunately, people are tilting it to the extreme. They are going past the initial mark. If you concede that Mary Wollstonecraft, the founder of feminism, and you believe in her, her initial purpose was equality or access to equal opportunities. You have things like radical feminism, which touts that men and women are equal, or women's oppression is as a result of the patriarchy, that women are oppressed because of the patriarchy. But unfortunately, with things like, yes, they go further to list that a man is more politically dominated, a man has social privilege, things like that. But if you look at it from an analytical standpoint or from an evolutionary standpoint, the things that were deemed acceptable, the things that were deemed as common sense 100 or 200 years ago is now debated. In the days of Emperor Napoleon, when he was conquering earth and he had to pick the crown of the French king from the gutters with the tip of his sword. In fact, coalitions, four entities had to come together in order to conquer the great Napoleon Bonaparte. You think in those days you can come along with your signboard and go, he wants more opportunities, he would fuck you up, he would massacre the whole population. No, the point I'm trying to highlight is this is how it has always been since the dawn of human time. The men were dominant, the men were in more leadership spaces, the men were in more political sphere than otherwise. It's not as a result of disenfranchisement, or it's not as a result of little access or disparaging access to opportunities on both ends. In fact, let's correct this notion, because majority of people believe that whenever there's an inconsistency, that means there is disparity, or disparity means inequality, which is not the case. Yes, a huge subset of people in the leadership role are men. That's because men gravitate towards those kind of activities. Men are prepared to give up their life carrying trash in order for their women and children to be fine. So men are willing to suffer for the greater good of society. Women are not. Women are very self-preservative. Women only think about themselves, which is good, by the way. If you had a clan and the 50 conquerors come to the other tribe, please don't kill me, I'm ready to join your party or your tribe or whatever. Very rarely do the women stand up and go, you killed our husbands, therefore we are prepared to die to defend. Fucking slap, slap that dumb bitch. But you get the point. Women are not willing to suffer. Women are very self-preservative, and it's their superpower. So I'm not knocking on that. Let's understand the different roles every single one of us have to play as touching society and nation building. A striker and a defender can be rated 89. A striker and a defender can be rated 89. Are they equal? Perhaps, but do they do the same thing? No. A striker is good at striking and a defender good at defending. It all gets messed up when a striker tries to do a defender's job and a defender a striker's job. They can switch every once in a while, but trying to stay in that role statically is messed up. Well, I can provide and protect too. So does Militao. He scores header for Real Madrid. But that is not his position. Just because you bought toilet roll and tissue papers when I was out doesn't mean you protect and provide. We'll keep it here. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.